about what they're doing on the weekend. So the question is, how do we make our students powerfully literate and want to pick up something and read it? The answer is really quite plain and simple. We need to grab their attention, okay? Big one, make it appealing. Grab attention. And this comes back to our both sociocultural model of reading and contemporary models of reading as well. This is how we're going to start grabbing their attention and ultimately making them more powerfully literate, okay? So we need to learn about our class, what they like, what they don't like, and use these tools to promote reading and literacy. Now the internet, such an accessible tool. This definitely comes under one of our contemporary models of reading, all right? Internet. We're talking about Generation Z now. That's pretty much all they do, hang out on the internet, all right? So we need to start thinking, how can we build this into our curriculum and into our lesson structures, all right? It's such an accessible piece of equipment, so why not adopt a contemporary model of reading? And I say reading like that because we're developing these skills, but we're not just using a text to do that. We're also talking about using things such as YouTube, websites, okay? So internet, bam, YouTube. So many fantastic things are available on the YouTube website, and it's a great opportunity to try and, you know, attempt to stimulate students from that particular angle. Another thing that you can do on the internet, obviously, there's so many multimedia things available, so interactive websites, and especially for teaching aids and teaching resources. There are so many these days. You've just got to look up a particular subject. You know, you might be doing alcohol or something for PE, and there's just so many fantastic resources, and they're interactive. Students can get online. You know, in English, same thing goes with that. They can get online, and they're not just doing the same boring thing of reading through things. They're actually having to get involved and use a lot more of their senses. Okay. So an idea which I had could be used as a homework task for PE, and it basically have students go home and YouTube some sporting clips to the corresponding sport that we'd be doing. The task would be to watch the footage, obviously, and look at key plays that either got opposition players out of position or how the attacking team set up a goal, where they moved to, what the players were doing, and basically write all this down and then bring it into class the next day. So they're having to analyse, you know, a different style of text, bring it in, and then obviously offload that to the class, and then obviously compare answers as well. And this comes back to the way that we structure our lessons too. Structuring lessons. So we've got to structure our lessons to best facilitate and develop this idea of becoming powerfully literate, right? And we've got to use everything at our disposal. And like I said, there's so many things that are available now at our disposal to use. And it keeps coming back to this contemporary model of reading, okay? We can't just be using the same boring things. We've got to be expanding. They're absolutely critical. Without engagement, there can be no learning, okay? So we've got to have engagement. So it's going to connect us to this year of reading by getting them engaged, and then it's going to keep developing their skills to become powerfully literate. So it's essential for teachers to provide engaging texts and experiences with which children can connect. Alright, so grabbing their attention, make it appealing. The text and experiences should acknowledge and build on children's prior knowledge and experiences, okay? So we've got to see, you know, find out what they do, what they like, and we've got to build on that and try and integrate things that are going to appeal to them. For instance, we've also got 30% of students who are from non-English speaking backgrounds. We need to provide them with tasks and exercises, I guess books as well, that don't only appeal to them, but things they can understand. Your basic levels of English to begin with. Only then can we begin to develop their skills. But the key here again is getting their attention. Okay, we can't just expect an international student to jump on the exact same thing that the rest of the class is doing straight away. We've got to have a little bit of leeway. So the way we structure our lessons is really critical to that and allow for it. Now I wish we had some students here to ask them a question about what they do before they come to school or what they do when they get home. I feel very safe to say that it would probably have the word computer or internet in there somewhere. As I spoke about, Gen Z, they love their internet, love their YouTube, so it's definitely an avenue for us to not so much exploit, but definitely use. Excuse me. I just mentioned that it's important to appeal to a student's interests, but I still think there is room for good old-fashioned reading to take place and be enjoyed. And I think this is somewhere that being at home, in the community, the family can help promote as well. And that is the good old-fashioned paper, or newspaper. So newspaper, a bit of a lost source of information and entertainment for our younger generations, but it takes a bit of maturity to start appreciating the newspaper, but I definitely feel that there's room and elements of the newspaper that can be grasped from for school students and promoted through the family, and ultimately promote the National Year of Reading, and then keep coming back to this powerful literate, because if we keep promoting our students to explore elements of reading outside school, they're just getting it from all these different directions, and like I said, it's just going to keep fast tracking. So the paper is somewhat old technology, but it offers the reader a great insight into current events and interesting stories. It would arguably not be amongst the favourite things for students to read. I'm very certain of that. But in order to be powerfully literate, I do feel that you have to have a broad area of options that allow these skills to be developed. Now, getting students to read the paper may seem a hard task, but pushing the fact that school is participating in this year of reading and we're looking at trying different things, I think it's a great opportunity for us to bring this back into students' lives. So we could use to include one day a week as a day that students must find an article that has some form of relevance to them, or something that they're doing in some way. And having done that, they would bring it to class the next day, provide a brief overview of what it's discussing, and try and explain to the class, what the text is all talking about, any underlining themes that it's raising, or perhaps an author's point of view that they can see coming out of there. And obviously, they may need parent advice from this. So, fantastic. We're including the parents again, boosting the idea of more reading. In addition to this, I've actually been reminded by our principal that 30% of our students come from non-English speaking backgrounds. I touched on the need to appeal to different cultural beliefs, but definitely non-English speaking backgrounds, a big one, okay? A few ideas I had about catering for non-English speaking students and their families. Providing detailed letters to go home to parents and explaining what this whole year is about. I think doing that, it gives the parents and students the opportunity to not just have it said to them and then think, oh, hang on a second, I've got to work out what was going on there. It actually gives them the chance to sit down as a family and go, okay, we've got this National Year of Reading, they've got nice comfort of home to work out, maybe suggest, in the letter we could suggest ways that we're trying to include this within both our lessons and I guess as a community. Have students work with a mixture of international and non-international students. I keep coming back to these, YouTube, internet, role plays, multimedia, they're all at our disposal, and I think they're a great way of looking at a contemporary model for international students as well as Australian students. Now, in conjunction with this meeting, I'll actually be circulating a paper to the staff, and it will further identify the reading needs of our girls within middle school. The paper will also touch on productive pedagogies that will best foster these needs as well. Now, as I said, my background is in the area of health and physical education, so some of this meeting and paper will offer its ideas based around this area. However, many of the ideas will easily cross over with other areas in the curriculum. Having said that, in contrast, some ideas will be catered best to classroom-based subjects, so they may not work for PE. And most of them you'll find will more so work for classroom than they would PE. But because I'm in the area of PE, I like a bit of a challenge, and that's why I sort of thought I'd attack this year of reading and try and promote where within PE I thought we could, boost the amount of reading and ideally get our students more and more powerfully literate. But thank you for attending this meeting, and hopefully it will serve as a solid platform for slingshotting the National Year of Reading into action across our school, and also promoting this Girls Up approach with the United Nations. Okay, thank you.